opportunity to work with so many students from many schools who sing, play string instruments, and play the band instruments that you're about to see up here today. One of the great things that we get to tell them is that music doesn't have to stop at high school. And it's great that we had two of our clinicians, our collegiate professors, and to encourage your students, your children, to continue to go on. And one of the big things we tell them all the time is it pays to play. And that part of the way they can pay for college is by doing what they do right here. Whether that's in the BSU marching band, if you're a BSU fan, basketball games, and jazz bands, and wind ensembles, just like this at the collegiate level. And we encourage them to do those things all the time. And that's a really wonderful thing, for them to realize that it doesn't have to stop. The magical moments, they can continue for a lifetime. And I think that's one of the really great things about music. Do you agree with that? Before I introduce our clinician real quick and we get started with this side, we'd like to do something just a little fun. I know some of you are sitting next to people you don't know tonight, so if you could do me a favor. If you are here for a band person, you will tell the person next to you, you are the letter B. For a choir, you're the letter C. For an orchestra, the letter O. If you're a combination, you figure out how you want to say it. Go ahead, turn to the person on this side, tell them what letters you are. Now turn to this side, tell them what you are. Make sure that you use a B for band and an O for orchestra. Don't use an S for symphony after you say band. That might not be good. Simmer down. So as you got to see tonight, all the wonderful ensembles, choir most of the time, singing 4 parts, the orchestra up to 5 parts, the band a little different. Tonight, as you listen to the different songs, some of them you will hear up to 30 different musical parts happening all at the same time. So, without further ado, tonight I'd like to introduce to you our band clinician, Mr. John Miller, recently retired after 40 years teaching and teaching the last 30 years as the director of bands at American Fork High School. Before that, he was an Idaho educator for 10 years in Blackfoot and Highland High School in Pocatello. The American Fork bands under his direction have received many honors. In recent years, the marching band has performed in the Fiesta Bowl, twice in the Pasadena Tournament of Roses Parade, twice in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade in New York City, and many, many other accomplishments, too numerous to name. We're so lucky to have one of the legends of the band world here in little old Idaho today. So let's give Mr. John Miller a big hand clap.
Thank you very much. I am excited to be here. I need to say something about this first tune we're going to play. Mystery on Mena Mountain. There's an old folk song, lore in Arkansas of 2 young boys who decided to take off and climb up Mena Mountain. Anybody from Arkansas out here? I guess there's a mountain called Mena Mountain. And they climbed up. As they got to the top, the clouds kind of came down. And as they got further and further and further in the clouds, they realized they could not come back. And they started to turn back, and they heard some sounds, and they turned back and saw 200 angels clothed in white. And they went with the angels. They went back to the Mena Mountain, and they would never see them again. And you're going to hear this in this piece of music. Their ascent to the mountain, you can actually see if you can feel the time when they actually turned and saw the 200 angels in robes, taking them home to them. So please sit back and enjoy this incredible version of Mystery on Mena Mountain. much. This has been a true joy to be here and work with these students. And I just got to say one more time, how about that choir and orchestra? Wasn't that amazing? Give them another hand. That was phenomenal. You folks are doing a great job of supporting the arts. We really appreciate that. Always fight for us, because we need all the help we can get. This next piece, I had a student teacher several years ago named Breck Mangelson, graduated from BYU, did student teaching with me. Wonderful student teacher. They called him Mr. Jolly. He was so happy. That's just what his nickname was, Mr. Jolly. And he graduated and went to teach at Lee High. And he was an amazing teacher. One day, tragedy struck. We received a phone call that he was at band camp, and he got a phone call from his wife. His little 2-year-old boy, Garrett, had been playing in the garage and tipped something over on him and tragically took his life. And Mr. Mangelson ran home, and they life flighted him, and he passed away. It was just the saddest thing. Garrett, I've never been to funerals can be cool. This was a cool funeral because his father spoke, his mother spoke about little Garrett, and at the end they had liked to do four-wheeling together, ATVs and all that kind of stuff. And he had a side-by-side, and his father packed his little casket out to the parking lot, placed the casket on the back of the ATV, and took Garrett for his last ride to the burial place. And it was just heart-wrenching. Mr. Mangelson contacted Mr. Hazo, the guy who wrote this piece, and asked him if he would write a piece of music in tribute to his son. Mr. Hazo didn't think he could do that. Well, in December, I was in Chicago to what they call a band, Midwest Band Orchestra Directors Clinic, and Mr. Mangelson was there, and we were walking around together, and we spotted Mr. Hazo, and he went up and talked to him, and I heard his whole conversation. Please, Mr. Hazo, would you write a piece of music? You're my favorite composer in tribute to my son. And how could he say no? And he did. He wrote this beautiful piece of music. In it, it talks about death a little bit, but at the end, it's a mountain time. It's a mountain time. It's kind of a flower. And there's a time in there when the angels come in the first tune. The angels come and they take Garrett, and he turns around and he says, kind of a Gaelic kind of thing, "Lassie, follow me." And he's talking to his mother, saying, "I'm here, I'm okay, I'm fine. As soon as you're ready, come to me. Lassie, come home, my Lassie." So this is in tribute to Garrett and to all those who have lost anyone at any time, tragic circumstances, mountain time. Thank you. I told Mr. Magnuson was going to play that song, and he said, tell the people Garrett thanks them. So he truly does. This next tune, our last song, get a little happier here. In the Civil War, they had a train going from Atlanta to Chattanooga. It was a big supply train that went there and supplied the Confederate up to the Union Army front. And some Union people, 19 of them, got a little tired of all these supplies coming up. So they said, you know what, we're going to put on disguise. We're just going to dress in civilian clothes. We're going to go down there and we're going to steal that train. So off they went down there and jumped on a train and rode the train up. And the train stopped to survey, could get some food. And they stopped. And these 19 men went up and uncoupled the engine and the hopper, I think they call it, and a couple of their trains, and took off. And everybody else in there eating said, wait a minute, someone just stole our train. And off it goes. And they ran after them on foot for quite a while, couldn't find them, and then they commandeered another train called the Texan train, and they chased them. Off they went. And for 2 or 3 days, these folks were chasing the Union Army people who had stolen that train. And it became a real legend in the Civil War era of that chase, because the Union soldiers would go ahead and stop, they'd tear up some tracks, and you're going to hear them tearing up tracks a little bit. And the train just kept trucking, and it went as far as it could go, then they'd kind of destroyed the train, and they just all disappeared and never got caught, and it did a lot of damage to the Confederate army that went up there. So this is in tribute to those folks in the Civil War. Seems like a long time ago, but the locomotive chase that went on right there. I want to thank you again for this opportunity to be here. These folks are the best of the best. They really are. They have been amazing. It's been a true joy to work with them. And I am from Idaho, and I taught here a lot, and I just always love to come back here. And this is a wonderful thing to see these kind of people. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and we're going to end with the locomotive chase.